Welcome back to the last session of GUI Applications. This is a tutorial for Ymt112 Algorithm and Programming 2. We are still speaking about GUI Applications. This is just the introduction part, the first part, chapter 12, and we are addressing coding with GUI applications, or how to code GUI applications. We discussed four questions earlier to introduce the idea itself, and we learned how to create components and widgets and place them on a window. Now we will go to a deeper question where we will investigate different types of scenarios, and we will use customized representation. Initially, look at this. What the question is asking us to design something like this. So we have one panel, welcoming panel, and then we have another panel for the type of the booking. This is a booking calculator. This is what we call the radio buttons. You can choose one. There may be as many as the application requires. We have another panel, and this panel has 3 check boxes. You can check all of them. It depends, or you can check none of them, or some of them, 2 or 1 of them. And we have at the bottom here, we have 2 buttons, these buttons for calculation. And what do we need to calculate when we customize? Let's say we choose the VIP. We have certain prices for VIP and normal, and then we can choose also for customization here. We can add whatever extras that we would like to have, and then calculate. We will get the calculation based on some added tags for the subtotal. So this is what we are going to do. We have certain calculation. We have radio buttons for VIP and normal. We have check boxes. So we need to customize all, calculate, get the subtotal, and include the tags, sum up, and calculate this button will get us the total needed amount, or total paid order, and exit will terminate the session. So we have an example here. Let's say if we pick up VIP and hotel room and refreshments, we will get this total, for example. I didn't write many of the details here. I just skipped them. It is just an application. You can customize it the way you like. You can use the format method if you like. You can insert whatever you want based on the output. The idea is how to code this GUI first. Okay. Earlier we spoke about GUI in general, not in details, and we had relatively short applications where we finished like in 10, 15, 20 minutes max. Now we have actually a bit longer, and for this reason I'll not mix everything up in the constructor of the main class. So this is my main class. I'll just create a class booking calculator. I'll leave it for the time being. What I'm going to do is I'll create another class, and I'll create my panels. I have the 3 panels that I'm going to have. The welcoming one, the one for the radio buttons, the type, and the customization, the check boxes. So we have 3. I'll create them separately, then get them from the main class and try to manipulate them from there. It will be easier for us, more clear. So what I'm going to do, I'll give this a name, welcome panel. Okay. The name actually doesn't matter here. Just give a name that fits your prescription of the problem. So I'm going to import javax dot swing. Not quite sure if I'm going to use AWT. I'll import it just in case. I think I'm not going to use it for this class, but just in case, I'm adding it. Okay. So what I'm going to do, this panel, we are going to create a panel for welcoming. So this welcoming here is based on the panel. So what are we going to do? We will extends our JPanel, so we don't have to instantiate anything. It will be just directly available to us. I'm sorry, this is not an instance. It's a class by itself. Okay. So we have already extended the Gem panel. Now whatever methods available in JPanel will be available for us to use in this welcoming panel. Now let's create what we have on that panel. What we have on that panel is just a welcoming message. So we can have a label to do that for us. So we can directly go and create here. Go ahead and create a constructor where we instantiate a label, JLabel. We can call it greeting, and then we can instantiate it to the message available in our application. So what we have on that application: welcome to city tour. Just the name of a company or whatever. I'm sorry about this typo. I keep doing this mistake, actually. It's like a habit. All right. Now we created the label. So what do we need to do? We need to add it to the panel, as we always do. Add. We don't have to specify any panel now. It's available. We extended its functionality. We brought it all of it to welcome panel. So we have add greetings, or greeting, actually not greetings. Greeting. Okay, terminate here. Okay, that's it. So we have the first panel set, and this is relatively short. Let's go and create the next panels. Let's create a new class. And what's the next panel? The next panel is the type, the trip type. We can call it type directly. Okay. And what we will have here is a class. Now let's customize it. For this class, we need to import same javax.swing. I'll get all the package, and also we need to import the Java AWT, a heavyweight, just in case. And then we extend the functionality of the class, or actually we inherit the J panel also. Why? Because we are creating a panel, so we extend the functionality of J panel, or actually we inherit it, in other words. Okay, so now what do we have in the in this panel? So we have two possibilities as radio buttons and a frame, and outside actually border with a title. So we need to do this. Now for VIP, it's written in the question that it's 50, it costs 50, and for the normal it costs 30. So let's define them as final. Okay, private, final. Well, we can use an integer because they are integer, or if you want, you can use double. In this case, we can use integer. VIP equals 50, and we do the same. Private, final, integer, and then we use normal. We list down normal 30. Okay. Do we have any other private members? Yes. We need to create the radio buttons. Okay, and we need to create group. We need to group them. So what we need to do is private J radio button, and here we have two buttons, VIP and normal, and we need to create a group to group these two together. Private button group, we can call it button group BG. Do we have any other private? Well, we don't have. We can go directly to type itself as a constructor, and then we can create whatever we need now. Now pay attention here. This is extremely important. Look at the rhythm. We have two rows and one column. So we can use grid layout. Layout means what? The way we are displaying the components. So we can use a matrix, rows and column. So rows and columns will be displayed based on grids. Grids like cells. So we can customize that. So we have 2 rows and just 1 column. So we can do that based on a grid. So what we are going to do is we set layout, and this is how we set any layout in the application of GUIs in Java. New, we name the layout because we have different types of layouts. We have the flow, we have the grid, so we can use the grid now. Okay, grid layout. Okay, and we have to specify the number of rows and the number of columns. 2 rows, 1 column. Okay, that's it. So we set the layout. Now, initially, what we need to do, we need to give the name of the buttons. So we need to declare for these buttons, or instantiate them, actually more proper than declare. Radio button, sorry. And then we need to provide the name of the button, VIP. And now, which one do you want the selection to be by default available? So if you want the VIP to have the default selection, like now, this is the default selection, or if you want normal to be selected by default, then you specify true here. So in this case, the default selection will be VIP, and we will do the same for normal. Only difference is we will not make it true normal, yes. So we will instantiate it, radio button, and we will just provide its name. I can write it normal, and that's it. Now, I shouldn't say true. Why? Because we cannot have both of them selected at the beginning, so that's not possible even. We have to choose one of them and keep it or make it the default selection. All right, so we need to group them. So we create the group, new button, group, okay. And then we need to add them to the group. So now look, which one comes first? VIP, so add it first. Which one comes next? Normal, add it next. So bg.add, and then yes, VIP, and then we do the same, dot add, we add the normal. Now we are almost done, little bit left. We need to set the border. This one we didn't take before. How to create this border is just a nice view of our panel. So it has its own method. We can set border as a method, and here we need to provide border factory, and then use this method create tile, okay, and border. Then we give the name of this title type. I hope I didn't mistype. Seems that I did. Create tile border titled. Okay. Yes, I suspected that I made this mistake. Okay, now it's fine. Create title border. Why? Because this is exactly title border. So it has its own tile, and this one also title border, and it has its own tile. So now we created our border title, so we need to add the buttons, so VIP, and we need to add normal, and we are done with the constructor. Once we are done with the constructor, now what's requested from us? We need to calculate the cost. What kind of cost? Now, if the VIP is checked or selected, then we have a price of 50. if normal, we have a price of 30, so we have to customize that. We can create a method, double, or actually integer. We can return integer because this is an integer. No need for double. Get cost or cheap cost, I can call it, maybe better, not just cost, because we have a lot of costs to be calculated. So we specify them. And now what we need to do is total cost can be integer because we are dealing with integer at the moment. Okay, we can initialize it to 0, and then if, now we have two choices. If VIP is selected, in that case, then the cost will be 50. Else, if it is not, because we have two buttons only, we shouldn't make a chain of if else. Why? Because we have only two buttons, two radio buttons. If we have more, if we need to create more, we need to make a rule based with if else. Okay. So if it is not VIP, then for sure it is normal, and that is 30. We can, actually we have already defined them. Then why are we writing this one? We should write the prices that we set at the beginning normal, since we defined them. Otherwise, you don't have to define those and declare for them from the beginning. This one is more suitable. Why? Because you can change those, and then you don't have to worry about any debugging here. Once these are done, then we can return the cost, and that's it. Okay, that's pretty much of it for this panel. So this sounds okay for us. Well, let's move to the next panel. New Java class, and the next panel is actually calculating the customization. I can call it customization if you want, or maybe details. It's up to you. Customization. Right. So we create a class. We do the same as we did earlier to the radio button. However, with a little bit of a change because we have checkboxes. So here we have to import the javax.swing. Bring all of it not to have any problem. Also import Java with the abstract windowing package or library. Okay. Now we got these two. It's inside the package. I'm sorry. I have to import them inside the package here. Okay. So this is just not needed. All right, we need to extends also JPanel, because we are speaking about the panel now, and we need to have access to its own methods. All right, so what kind of variables do we have? We have here, let's just check it. We have 3: out of room, refreshments, and taxi pickup. So we have 3 variables. We can initialize them at the beginning and give them their own values or costs. So we can do that private. Well, final. And we can use integer. Since they are integer, you can use integer. If you want, you can use double. It's up to you. Room equals 75. Private. Final integer, refreshment, refresh. I don't have to type all of it. We said 20, yes, 20, and private final integer taxi that's equal to 15. All right. So now we declared all our private members. For just the numbers, values, the costs, we need to declare for the check boxes. So private j check box, and we have 3. We have one for the room, we have one for the refreshment, and we have one for the taxi. Okay, so we have these three. Now let's directly go to the customization, the instructor. Okay, and then, sorry. Okay, we need to set the layout, the stuff, everything we did earlier. We need to do it now. Let's have a look. Same, one column, but here three rows. So we need to have 3 rows, 1 column. We have also border, title border. We have a title here. So we need to provide all those. Okay. So set the layout, set layout, and this layout we need to provide grid also. This is the easiest to manage this problem, layout. And we have 3 rows, as I just said, 3 buttons, that means 3 rows and 1 column. Not always, because in this case they are not on 1 row, they are on 1 column, 3 rows. Okay, so this is exactly what we need. Now room equals new J checkbox, and we need to give the name of it. Well, hotel room. We do the same to the rest of them, so let me save time and just copy this. We can customize it quickly. One more time. So we have a refreshment. Why am I typing all of it? Just taking my time. Refreshment, okay. And here I type all of it. This is needed. Refreshment, okay. And the third one is taxi, and its name is taxi. Well, that made it a bit faster. Okay, taxi pickup. We said okay. Yes, we said pickup. I remember. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Refreshments. Okay. So we need to set the border also, the style of the border. Set border, and we need to customize the border. Border factory dot create. Oh, I'm sorry. Dot. Come on. Create titled border, and then we need to give the title customization. Okay, I hope there is no typo. Seems there is no. Okay, good. Now, what we did earlier, add. So we add these buttons by their own order. We have the first one, room, then the second one, the refreshment. We just said ref. Okay, refreshment, and then add. And let me go up a little bit so the view will be clear. Taxi. Okay. All right, so we are almost there. Now for the constructor, we are done. We just need to calculate the cost as we did for the type. Now what we need to do is we can just provide integer get cost, get customization. Okay, because we have customization cost, and then it's a method, so we need to create. Well, we can initialize cost here to 0, and this is local to this method. It doesn't actually does not have anything to do with the previous cost in type. Okay, so we need to check if the room only is checked. Okay, because this is a checkbox, we can check all of them. Checkboxes is selected. So if this one is selected, what are we going to have? The cost will be incremented. Cost plus equal room, the fee of the room. Okay, if unlike the radio buttons, the checkboxes can can be checked, all of them or some of them, or maybe none of them. It's up to you. So here ref dot is selected, and in this case we add to the cost the refreshment cost, and then we have the last one. If we have here if the taxi is selected checked, so we taxi not taxi is selected, so what we have is another increment in the price because it's just accumulative in this case. Okay, taxi. Right, so we included all of them. Now we need to return the cost, and that will do. This is the last part of the customization. Now for the customization, after we are done with it, now let's just have a look. Do we have any panel here? We have only the buttons. We can consider them later on with another type of border or another type of layout. So this one and this one are customized and their borders are set. So these two, we created this one. These buttons are not created. We can create it directly from the booking. So let's go back to booking. Now let's import everything that we are going to use. The first one is javax.swing. So the swing library is needed for us, the class. So we need to have access to it. We need to access to the abstract windowing. So we need to import also java.awt all of the class, and we need also the event. We need also the event action event, and we need also the event action listener. Why? Because we have a button, and this button will respond to some action, so we need to include those. Okay, import java.awt.event. Okay, bring all of it, and then we need also specifically this one, awt.event, and then we need from this one bring all of it, because we need to have action event and action listener, both of them. Well, I think for these will do. If we have any need later on, it will appear that we haven't yet defined it. I think these are the ones I'm using in this example. So let's create our private members. Now, what kind of private members? We have the type, the panel that we just created here, this panel type, and we have the welcome panel, this welcome panel also private, and we have the customization. This is also private, and we need two more panels. Actually, one panel for the one specifically. Actually, one panel is enough. One panel, and we need to place the buttons on it. So let's do that. Private type. Let's say type panel, and then private we have welcome panel, w panel, welcome panel, so that welcome. So we shorten the typing because we are going to use them, so we make our job easier. Private customization, and we call it maybe C panel. Yeah, customization panel. Then we create private J panel, because we need to have another panel now for the button. Okay, button panel. That will do. Now we need to create two buttons, so we need to declare for them private J button. Well, we need the calculation. calc button, and we need the exit button. Okay, and we have also private final double tax equals to 0.8%. Let me remind you here, we have this tax, we need to define it. You could use it directly, but I would go for defining it so that if next time you want to modify your program, you just modify this one. Whatever calculations involve tax, you don't have to change anything in them. You just change only once for the whole program. Let's create our constructor booking calculator. And this constructor, we need to create the main theme. So the main theme here is telling us booking calculator. This is the name. So we need to define it. Super. We need to send it to the upper class or the super class booking calculator. I don't want to make any typo. Okay, calculator. Okay. Then what we did earlier, setting the default. Seems I have a mistake here. Oh, of course, we didn't extend the JFrame, so we need to extend JFrame. Extends JFrame, and that will do. Okay. Why? Because what it mentioned to me that okay, you cannot use this super for what? Why? Because we don't have an upper class here, or we do not have a parent class. I forgot to extend, or I forgot to inherit the booking calculator and make it the child of JFrame. Now it is. So what we need to do is set default close operation, and then JFrame dot exit on close. Now we need to set the size. Well, we can use the default size and manipulate the border. We need to use layout border. So now let's try to set this layout set. Layout, and let me explain about it from the Word document. Now I'll just create this new border layout. I said earlier that we have different types of layouts. Layouts, the view that we see here, this view where we are placing these components or these, you can say panels. So this is a panel provided somewhere. Another panel somewhere, another panel somewhere, another panel somewhere. We can use the border layout, and we can customize it based on east, west, north, south. So up and down we have north and south, west and east. So we can define those easily. It's like just divided. This is the center, and I left it empty for a reason. I'll tell you about the duty that you have to do later on with the center, okay? So now we set the layout, the border layout. Now we need to manipulate our panels. So we can have the first panel, and let me go up a little bit so that you see the welcome panel. Did we write it W? Yes, capital P. Okay, panel equals new welcome. Okay, panel, and then we have the greeting, right? Welcome. No, which panel do we have here? The type. Yes, the type, and then we have the customization. Okay, type T panel equals new type, and then we have the customization cPanel equals new customization. Seems I made a mistake. Type. Is there any typo here? Let me check. Seems to me, yes, there is a problem. Let me check. What am I providing? Type. Yeah, okay. Check type. Same name. Oh, here we have the same name. That's interesting. Let me just have a look again. If I mistyped any. No. Seems fine. Let me check. Okay, cPanel. Type. Let me double check the kind of mistake in particular. May not be instantiated. Why? This is not enumerated type. Oh, I'm afraid this is a reserved keyword. So seems that's very interesting. Let's change it. Trip type. Okay, I'll just refactor this one. Rename it. Okay. I'll call it trip type, refactor it, and then I'll try to do the same. Trip type, and here trip type. Yeah, well, that one was a keyword. Yeah, that one was a keyword. That's why it wasn't accepting it. Okay, that's very interesting. I didn't pay attention to it. Well, for sure. So because of that, it was an enumerated type. It didn't accept it, was just refusing to have it as a class in here. Although it accepted earlier while creating it. Never mind, it doesn't matter. Since it is fine now, let's move a bit. So we created these three panels. We need to have you can say a builder. Earlier I didn't teach you this one. We need to do like this. What we need to do is we need to create a builder for the panel separately. This is easier. Why? Because we don't include everything in the constructor. So our constructor will be a bit more clear for us to visualize. So what we need to do is like build, okay, build button panel. It's just a method, and I will customize it, write it by myself, write its definition myself. Now, what I'm going to do, did I define the buttons? I'm sorry. Well, we can do that. Yes, we can do that now. Yeah, okay. Yes, so let me do this. Let me add them based on their own scenario of visualization, the way they are appearing. We have the welcoming first, panel, and then border layout. And in the border layout, this one is set to north. Okay, north, the upper one, the upper side. Let me terminate. And here, let me just copy and paste, and then modify. Okay, so we have the second panel, we have the T panel. Okay, so for the T panel, we have the is set to the west, the type. Okay, so I set it to west. For the third one is the customization C panel. It's set to east, the opposite of west here, yes. And then we have the button one, the button panel. Did I create it? Let me check. Yes, yeah, I created it. It's set to south, down. Okay, south. So now we have all the buttons, all the panels set. We need to pack them. So pack is a common way for packing all these components. And then we need to set visible our all window. So the window shall be displayed. We need to say it is true. Now we need to leave and create the definition of this. Okay, and see how we will handle the details of the definition. Okay, so this is a private. I don't have to create it public because only my class should access to it. Void build button panel. I don't have any argument. So what we are going to do is the B panel we created equals new J panel. Okay, terminate here, and then we need to define both the calc, the way I typed it up. Let me check. How did I type it? I forgot. Calc, yeah, calc button. Okay, equals new J button, and then we need to define or state its name, calculate, and we do the same to exit button equals new J button, and its name also is provided as exit, not exist, exit. Okay, exit. Then what we are having is now we need to register both of them for their own actions. The first action we need to register is the calc button. So what kind of action will be taken once we click on this button? Add action listener. Okay, so this action listener, we can create a new class to customize it. Maybe I can call it calculator. Okay, you can call it whatever name you like, maybe calculate button or whatever possible, I mean valid. Okay, exit also button. We need to register its own action, add action listener. Okay, and here what we need to do also, we need to define new, well, I can call it exit. Okay, here this is an instantiation, it must be an instance, or actually a class type. Okay, so those will actually have the swirly line, yes, because we haven't yet implemented the action listener. No problem, you don't have to worry about them now. Now what we need to do is we need to place these buttons, we need to place them on their panels. So panel dot add calc button, and we need also to do the same. I haven't terminated, let me terminate semicolon. Then we have also the panel dot add, we need to add the exit button. Well, this is the constructor of the build button panel is done. What we need to do now is we need to create the or implement actually the interface of action listening. So private, we can create a private class, in this case class Y. We don't need any access from outside world, it's just restricted to our own application here. Calculator, its name is calculator, we call it calculator, yeah. Implements action listener. Okay, I have to be precise. There should be no mistake. Calculator seems to me. Okay, this is fine because it tells us like you have to override the methods, and for sure that's what we are going to do, is overriding the methods that we have. Now we have only one main method here to override public void action. Oh, we explained about this one earlier, performed. Okay, and we have action event, and e or whatever value you want to add here. Okay, and that shows that we are just overriding the method requested to be overridden. Now we need to calculate the total cost. Now pay attention, we have tax, so when we multiply by a fraction we don't need to lose the integer multiplication, so I will define it as double. So double, I'll have two calculations, subtotal and total. Why? Because in order for me to calculate the total here, I can type it total, not total, so it would be nicer. I need to calculate the price without tax. Then I will need to multiply the tax to that price, then get the add this contribution of the tax to the price, and then get the total. So that's exactly what we are going to do. Subtotal equals, subtotal is what? All the prices that we have from everywhere, from the VIP or normal, from the checkboxes, the hotel room, taxi pickup, or the refreshments, we need to add them up. So let me remember the names. What did we call them? Created those. Let me check here. Yeah, T panel. Okay. T panel, W panel, customization. Okay, T panel and C panel. Okay. T panel dot get. Okay. Trip cost. Okay. This is the method. So we get the cost from the trip. Okay, then plus. What we need to do is we need to do the same to other the customization. So cPanel dot get what did we call it? Customization cost, right? Yeah, customization cost, exactly. And this is the subtotal. In order for us to calculate the tax, the contribution of the tax, what we do is we say that we have this total equals subtotal, okay, plus the contribution of the tax, so tax times subtotal, okay. So here we will get all the contribution of all the possible payments, okay. Now in order for us to finalize the session, now look here, this one is using the J option pane. It's easy actually. We can just use J option pane dot show option, of course is run J option pane dot show message dialog. And we have here, I can provide this one null, and then the string that I'm looking for displaying, times type anything. No, sounds okay. Now what I'm going to display, I'm going to display the total, okay. So I can just say the total is maybe, and plus total, right? And then we need to do the same for exit button. So, but for exit here, we don't have exactly a lot of actions. We just need to exit. So, in order for us to exit, private class, we called it what? Exit. And this class will also implements action listener, because it listens to the action, but actually it waits for the action coming by clicking the button. So we need to also override public. Okay, void action performed. And here we need to have the action event also, same like the above one exactly. There is not much of a difference here. This is exactly what we are getting, like we need to override it. So now I just want to exit. So in order for me to exit, I terminate the J option pane, and you know this one, we explained about it before and in the algorithm and programming one. In order for us to terminate the J option pane, totally terminate it, we use system.exit0 to totally exit from the system. The last part we need to do is the creating the main method, public static void main, and here we need to instantiate our booking class, booking calculator's name, right? Calculator, yes, and that will do. So this is the end of it. I have already explained in detail, so I don't want to say any more. Let's just run the file and see how things go. Well, this is exactly what I'm looking for. This is the view that we are supposed to get. Look, well, let's just try VIP with whole room, this whole room. Okay, we get some calculation. If we can add refreshment, we get some calculation, taxi pickup, another. You can change this to normal. You can just say, okay, just taxi pickup, and you will get some calculation. You can confirm those by yourself. So now what I want from you to do is, okay, this is the center. So we use the type of north and south and west and east. Okay, what we need to do is I want you to create a customization for the center, and maybe you present the outcome here, maybe, or maybe you can insert something. I'll teach you how to insert images in the second part of this GUI Applications chapter 13, not now, but I would like you to do this, customize this region, the center region, add something to it. And this will be actually the end of this session. I hope you guys enjoyed it, although it is really long, but I can do nothing. This is the way GUI applications are actually work. They are a bit long. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you would benefit from it. Enjoyed it, and I hope you will benefit from it. We will have other sessions for chapter 13 later on. Until then, have a good time.